Unsa? Sa to? Unsang
Katong sa
question?
calculation, ma'am,
Mhm.
ma'am, katong
Yes.
sa calculation unta, ma'am, mga mag-ano pa unta, ma'am, kanang another example pa unta ato, ma'am.
Okay, sige. Another example. Please everyone open the part nga basis nato no katong sa table. Please open that file. Let's give another example for you to solve. Okay, sige. So for example, ang given number or given amount for the taxable income is 280,000. Okay, 280,000. Asa man siya nga bracket mabilong sa sa income tax rate nga table.
250,000 to 500,000, ma'am.
Okay, dahil lang ha, mag-share screen sa ako sa inyo ha. Sa 250 to 500 pesos. As far as I can remember, if 250,000 to 500,000 ang next na tan-awon ninyo is unsa ang iyahang rate. Okay,
30%.
ang rate sa 250,000 to 50,000, ang inyohang tan-awon kadtong naay kuan ha, naay additional nga 50,000, then i-plus ninyo ang 30%, ang 30% sa excess amount sa taxable nga income. So for example, sa 280,000. So sorry. So sa 200 taxable income, mag-admit sa ako estudyante. Okay. Taxable income na given taxable income is 280,000. Now, 280,000 kay nabilong siya again dito sa table class nga naay ko na kadtong orange gud ang iyang heading. Dili tong percentage lang ang nakasulat, pero katong table jud mismo sa basis na to for tax due. Okay, so sa iyahang bracket kay mahulog siya sa 250,000 to 500,000. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so sa 250,000 to 500,000 kay ang iyang additional na tax no is 50,000. Then sa 50,000 kay naa siya 30%. 30% of ibutang na to diri ang taxable income. Okay? Para makuha na to ang excess nga amount. Okay, kung pila ang excess sa 280,000 versus sa stipulated na daan nga hantod asa lang siya pwede mo excess. So, pila ang amount dito a class?
To 250,000.
250,000. Now, atong ako ang gingon sa inyo ha, nga pag nag-solve mo ging ani nga problem, you have to follow the PEMDAS, the parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So, ang first na to na isolve is katong naa sa sulod sa parentheses. So, 50,000, nagkamali ko na ako'y kulang, 50,000 plus 30% of 280,000 minus 250,000. Pila man?
30,000 ma'am.
30,000 po.
30,000.
30,000.
Okay, now let's have let's get the amount of 30% of 30,000 pila man.
9,000 po, ma'am.
Okay, so diretso na siya. Ay, sorry. 9,000. So pila man ang iyahang tax due?
59,000 po.
59,000, ma'am.
So the answer for this example is 59,000. So always lang jud mo base dito as sa table kung sa tong mga kung pila siya ka percent sa ana nga bracket, pila ang iyang additional sa ana nga bracket, and then hantod asa lang ang pwede niya ma-excess, and then i-input ninyo tong taxable income na given para i-minus dito sa amount na stipulated nga hantod asa lang inyo pwede ma-excess kay para makuha ninyo tong excess amount jud as a whole. Okay? Nagets lang ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay. Okay na? Kisa ito nag-question ka ganiya, naghatag og concern to give another example.
Si Maika po, ma'am.
Maika, nakakuha na Maika?
Mention, ma'am.
Okay. Sige.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, karon, naa pa ba other question before ta mag-proceed sa atong kwan? Sa tuang week 2? So, murag next week ng exam. Murag paspas kaayo. Basig next week ang exam. Yeah, basig next week or next week.
Pasa na, ma'am. Oy.
Wala. Nakahinga na ba mo? Or for inhale pa lang?
Inhale pa lang, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Inhale pa lang, ma'am.
Organic
Action pa lang og inhale, no? Ha? Exam na? Laban lang, class. Para sa kinabukasan. Ang mga, ingana gani sila, the hardships that you encounter right now.
Sana
Char.
ulit paglaban.
Hugot yun na si Francis. Wala na ako to. Sir. Kuhaan ka ng ang mga hardships na inyong naagihan right now will paid off soon. And if that soon will come, class, you will be thankful sa inyong self na nung wala mo ni give up sa inyong dream. Char. Ana. Tanan man jud before ninyo makamit ang success in life, moagi man jud ta og hardships. La man joy dali nga ways, no, para maging successful ka agad-agad. Unless na lang kung ikaw tong isa ka person nga karon lang kanitaya og loto, like karon lang in your entire life pagkaugma milyonaryo na ka. Pero even though ka na nagataya sa loto, pila na po na ka-amount sa ilahang money ang ilahang nagastos before sila naging milyonaryo. So, everything in life kay makaagi jud tag hardships. But it's up to you kung mo give up ka or dili. Pero as much as possible, keep fighting for your dream. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright. Alright. So good na ta sa to ang week 2. Okay, my first question. What is tax administration? What is tax administration?
System of collecting taxes.
System of connecting taxes. Vanessa, do you have question maliban sa system as a no. Sorry ito. A system of collecting taxes. Unsa pa ang iba? Morado.
Ma'am?
Government agency, ma'am, nga naga-collect sa mga taxes, ma'am.
Government agencies na naga-collect og
Nga
mga
responsible.
taxes. Okay, so si Elmira to, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Justin, na kay answer?
Yes po. It is the execution of judgment and capacity to act in all tax cases decided with the court in favor of the Bureau of Internal Revenue, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you for that, Justin. Napay iba na gusto mag-answer?
Ako, ma'am.
Oh, go ahead, Vanessa.
Tax administration refers to the management of tax system. Tax administration of the national tax system of the Philippines is entrusted to the Bureau of Internal Revenue, which is under the supervision and administration of the Department of Finance.
Okay, thank you for that, Vanessa. Thank you for that. Marian, mag-answer ikaw, Marian.
Ano ma'am,
Yes.
taxation authority is a government agency responsible for the intake of government revenue, including
Oh.
taxes and sometimes non-tax revenue.
Okay, thank you for that, Marian. So, class, Kirby? You want to answer, Kirby?
About tax administration gyapon, ma'am.
Sure, go ahead.
So it is a administrative organization within the Ministry of Finance whose basic duty is to implement tax regulations and considering the payment of obligatory contributions.
Okay, thank you for that, Kirby. So, to sum, okay, kisa nagtaas og kamot? May nag-hands up. Wait lang. Kinsa ang nagtaas na. May nagtaas og kamot? May nag-raise og hand. Okay, murag wala. Okay, so to summarize your definition of tax administration. So, tax administration as what murada maasin igwanon kabaho money incident shared. Tax administration is first is a system of collecting taxes in accordance sa to ang country's tax policy, and also it involves enforcement of taxes through the following aspects sa atong taxation. First aspect niya is assessment jud ang iyang ginabuhat. Then second is through collection. So this also include the execution of judgment and also sa capacity nato to act in all tax cases decided sa tuang Korte Suprema in favor dito sa tuang Bureau of Internal Revenue. And next question is, what are the powers of the BIR? Unsa man ang powers sa tuang Bureau of Internal Revenue? You can give one.
Ako, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Ako, ma'am. One of the powers
Okay.
of revenue, ma'am, assess and collect all national internal revenue, taxes, fees, and charges po.
Okay, thank you for that. Wait lang. Ivory?
Yes po,
Okay.
ma'am.
Oo, ma'am.
Genovia. Okay, Genovia.
Ako ang naka-idea.
Okay, Ali. Next to Ali is Felizelda. Okay. Ali?
Uh,
Okay, go ahead.
they collect taxes
BIR collect the power of BIR is to collect taxes, okay? Felizelda?
Yeah.
Ano ma'am? Execution of judgments in all cases decided in its favor by the Court of Tax Appeals and Ordinary Courts.
Okay, thank you for that, Felizelda, for giving the another power of BIR. Kent?
Ma'am,
Okay, nag-raise ka og hand.
enforcement of all forfeitures, penalties, and fines on internal revenue taxes, fees, charges.
Okay, thank you for that, Kent.
Ako, ma'am.
Clarence? Okay. Eglenio?
Yes, ma'am. To
Okay, go.
execute judgments in all cases decided in its favor by the Court of Tax Appeals and the ordinary courts.
Okay, thank you for that, Eglenio. Felizelda, you raise your hand.
Ano ma'am? Administration of supervisory and police powers conferred to it.
Okay, thank you for that, Felizelda. Angelica?
Yes po, ma'am. Wait lang, ma'am. Assessment and collection of all national internal revenues, taxes, fees, and charges.
Okay,
Yes po, ma'am.
thank you for that. Okay, so powers of the BIR commissioner. So, kung ano, lang class may nag-message. So, power of BIR or the Bureau of Internal Revenue. So, first power dyan niya is kung ano, mo assess jud siya as what our tax administration referring to its definition no kay iyang focus is sa assessment and collection jud. So ang isa sa power sa BIR is ang assessment and collection of taxes. Then next is the enforcement of all forfeitures, mga penalties if ever na magkaroon og mga violations no sa pag-enforce nila sa ilahang law in terms of the tax. So, naadara yung mga penalties, mga fines, even ang kay namatay ginatawag na due process, so musulod Japan ang judgment dara in all cases decided as long as decided siya in its favor sa korte. Then giving effect to and also administering the supervisory o police power na gina-confer to it by the NIRC and other law na under sa tax, and then assignment of internal revenue officers, mga empleyado, and sa ilahang mga duties na buhatonon. And then, you also have the provision o sa distribution sa mga forms na ato ang fill upan, mga resibo na ilahang gina-release, mga certificates, mga stamps, unsa maning stamps kato mga documentary stamps na ginadikita to sa to ang mga ginapanotaryuhan ba, mga documents na kailangan nato ipasa sa government offices kaya nato mga documentary stamps. And then mga proper officials na mga ipasa nato sa mga proper officials sa tuwang government. And then mga issuance sa mga resibo, mga clearances, barangay clearances, mga issuance like sa mga resibo sa every time na magkaroon tayo transaction sa atoang government offices, especially sa BIR, sa mga taxes, kailangan man dyan na siya resibo, kailangan siya og mga clearances before sila mag-release og mga documents na kailangan nimo. Then, submission of annual reports, mga pertinent information padulong sa tuang kongreso and also mga reports to the congressional oversight ng mga committee and matter of taxation. So, to summarize it pa jud, basta ang i-remember niyo sa power sa kuan sa BIR assessment and collection, pag-enforce, paghatag og effect sa pag-administer sa supervisory o sa police power, provision and distribution sa documents, issuance of resibo and clearances, assignment sa internal officer, and submission sa annual report. So, mao na siya mga powers sa ato ang Bureau of Internal Revenue. And before I will proceed to my next question, class, naka-share sa inyo ha. So, natay mga mga chief official sa sulod sa Bureau of Internal Revenue. Naatay isa na ginatawag as the commissioner sa opisina. Then naatay upat ka deputy sa commissioners. So ilahang assigned departments is first is the operations, then second is the legal enforcement, then pangatlo is the information system, then pang-ulahi kay resource management na department. So, kada taga-deputy commissioner na sila yung mga operations group, legal enforcement group, information system group, resource management group para magdagan o hapsay ang per department. Then, my next question, class, is state the power of BIR commissioner. Unsa ang power sa tuang commissioner?
Ma'am,
Yes, Justin.
the powers of the BIR commissioners are as follows: interpret tax laws, decide the disputed tax assessments, summon and obtain information or testimony of persons, make assessments and prescribe additional tax requirements, compromise, abate, and refund of or credit taxes, and suspend the business operations.
Okay, thank you for that, Justin, for stating all the power of the commissioner. So, anyone would like to add up
Ako,
kanang
ma'am.
yes, Marian.
Ano ma'am, maganda to ma'am. The power of the commissioner to interpret tax law and to decide the tax cases, the power to interpret the provisions of this code and other tax law shall be under the exclusive and original jurisdiction of the commissioner, subject to review by the Secretary of Finance.
Okay, thank you for that, Marian. Flizelda, you raise your hand.
Yes, ma'am, na-raise din
Okay.
ako.
Ah,
Ano, ma'am?
sige.
Power of the commissioner to interpret tax laws, to decide tax cases, the power to interpret the provisions of this code and other tax law.
Okay, thank you for that, Flizelda. I think I seen Clarence raise her hand and another one, and nawala na siya. Clarence, do you want to answer?
Ano ma'am? The power of interpret the provision of this code and other tax laws shall be under the exclusive and original jurisdiction of the commissioner, subject to review by the Secretary of Finance.
Okay, thank you for that, Clarence. I think I see someone na nag-raise og hand kaganiha. I think it's Gwen Ayog, nag-raise ka og hand kaganiha. If I'm not mistaken, I think it is Gwen.
Wala.
Ay wala, okay. So na-miss na nako kung kinsa 'to nag-raise kaganiyag hand, kao ba ni Clarence? Okay, so the power of the commissioner. Okay, so the power of the commissioner is to interpret no katong mga provisions na gihatag from the NIRC that will be reviewed pa siya actually sa ato ang Secretary of Finance. And then they also have the power to decide sa mga tax cases na subject to exclusive nga appellate jurisdiction, and they also have the power to obtain mga information, pwede sad sila mo summon and also examine o mag-take og mga testimonies of persons to effect ang tax collection. Then they can also make assessment o mag-prescribe sila mga additional requirements for tax administration and enforcement. Then they can examine tax returns, mga i-determine nila ang kuan class, ang tax due. Tapos mo conduct sad sila mga inventory and also mga surveillances sila ang mga taxpayer. Then they prescribe also presumptive na mga gross sale and resibo for taxpayer when they fail to issue resibo or their declaration of return is not correct. Then they can also terminate the tax period, mag-prescribe sila og real property values, mas kilala na to sila sa mas kilala na to ning real property value as a as a zonal value. Then the commissioner power again can also comprise tax liabilities of the taxpayers sa state, and then inquire into bank deposit. So commissioner or the power of the commissioner kay naa sila power nga kuano mo-inquire sila sa mga bank deposit sila han taxpayer. Pero later on i-discuss nako kung paunsa paunsa dili magkaroon og access ang mga ang mga commissioner sa inyong accounts if ever. Then to accredit and register tax agents, they can also refund or credit internal revenue ng mga taxes. They can cancel the tax liabilities on a certain cases, and they can recommend additional na mga procedures or documentary na requirements para makadelegate sila then kung ano they have the power sad na mo delegate sa ilahang power, okay, na ipasa nila sa ilahang mga subordinates if ever nga dili sila available. Then nalang ko again i-share sa inyo wala man ko siya dara sa kuan sa inyong module, but I want to share this manggod. Naamang ko tayo ginatawag nga non-delegated power sa to ang commission no sa Commission of Internal Revenue nato commissioner sa Internal Revenue nato. So ang iyang non-delegated power is first kay na siya power to recommend or recommend declaration of rules. Pwede siya mo declare og regulations to the Secretary of Finance. Okay, mo na siya ang isa ka non-delegated power niya. Then second non-delegated power niya is to issue mga rulings, mga first impression para ma-reverse niya ang isa ka existing na ruling sa bureau. Then they also have the power to comprise or abate any tax liability, and they have the power to assign kung nasa sila power na mo assign, nasa sila power nga mo reassign og mga officers. Ana sila ka powerful. So, my next question class is what what are the instances when the BIR commissioner could terminate the tax period of the taxpayer? Again, What are the instances when the BIR commissioner could terminate the tax period of the taxpayer? You can directly kuan na lang no, tell me kung unsa tong mga kuan, mga points nga nung kuan kanus ang maka-declare or kanus ang maka-terminate no o tax period si commissioner. 5 ni siya kabuok.
Ako, ma'am.
Kinsa to? Kizeya.
When, ma'am, a taxpayer intends to leave the Philippines,
Okay?
removes his property from the Philippines, and retires from business subject to tax, and hides or conceals his property. Na, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you for that, Kezia. Kesha. Okay, so naa siya sa page 35. So under sa terminate taxable period. So it is under sa authority no sa isa ka commissioner. So under sa authority of the commissioner, first is pwede sila mo conduct og inventory and surveillance and prescribe presumptive na gross sale and resibo. So they exercise their power at any time during the taxable year only. Okay, note for that, taxable year only lang. If there are reasons that they believe nga ang mga taxpayer is not declaring their correct nga income. So, mao na siya ang iyang pag-inventory as long as sa taxable year niya. Kay dara man mabalaan sa mga commissioner kung nagabayad ang isa ka tao og tama. And then now let us proceed tong sa kung ano terminated taxable period. So ang BIR commissioner shall declare the tax period terminated and demand for immediate na payment sa tax due when the taxpayer first kay mo retire na siya sa business subject to tax katong mo tiwalag na siya sa iyahang business na supposedly nagabayad siya og tax and then intends to leave the Philippines kung mo padulong na siya abroad kana mo demand jud ang commissioner na to og immediate na payment sa iyahan tax due and then removes his property sa Pilipinas kana hides or conceal. Hides and conceal are the same word, has a synonymous na word, no? It is a synonymous word. Hides or conceals his property, itago niya iyang property, and then performs any act trending to obstruct the proceeding or the collection of tax for the past or current quarters, or even sa pag-render sa iyahang same totally or partially inefficient. So, kaning termination of tax period class, ang iyahang mas kilala nga tawag sa iyaha is the Jeopardy assessment. I have put a note there sa inyong kuano module. So the termination of the tax period is referred to as Jeopardy assessment. Okay. So next question, class. What are the instances when the BIR commissioner could inquire into the bank deposits? Okay, what are the instances when the BIR commissioner could inquire into the bank deposits? Duwa ni sila. You can read it
Ma'am,
directly
ako,
there.
ma'am.
Kisa to?
Ako, ma'am.
Okay, Ivory.
Okay po, ma'am. A descendant to determine the gross estate of such descendant, and any taxpayer who has filed an application for compromise of his tax liability under Section 204 at of the tax code by reason of financial incapability to pay his tax liability.
Okay, thank you for that. So, sa pag-inquire into bank deposit accounts, no? So, the power of the BIR Commissioner is to inquire into bank deposit accounts sa mga taxpayer. Pero the BIR Commissioner should not violate dapat ang secrecy of bank deposit law na naka-under siya sa RA number 1405 and other general or even special law. So, unsa pa kaya ang general and special law? So, pwede diri masulod ang Data Privacy Act. Okay, so data privacy. So, for example, katong nalantaw nako nga balita dati, no, kadtong naay mga commotions na nahitabo sa Malacañang between the administration and Trillanes nga out of the blue, Trillanes have or uh, senator, I'm not sure if he is still a senator right now. Trillanes still have, or Senator Trillanes have an access dito sa ano mga bank statements ato ang president without the knowledge of the owner sa mismong account. So in that scenario manggod, Trillanes or whoever nga nakuhaan niya ay nga document already broke or violated the secrecy law or the secrecy of bank deposit law na naa ang isa ka bangko. So with that kay murag guba na ang reputation of that bank nga pwede naman tayo basta-basta maka-access sa mga account namo and whatsoever. Actually class kani siya additional na lang pod. So in in relation sa taxation or sa tax, the application for compromise shall not be considered, no, di siya ma-consider unless na lang, excuse me, unless na lang ang taxpayer kay naa siya'y waiver, okay? Waiver na permahan regarding sa confidentiality sa iyahang deposit. Mo ni siya ako ang ginaingon kaganyan nga i-discuss na ko regarding paunsa kaya mawad-an og power ang commissioner no na mo check sa inyong account. Kay sa bangko man gud nagaperma ta og waiver ana. I'm not sure og kung ginabasa ninyo. Pero ang isa sa ilahang agreement dito is that they will secure your confidentiality sa ilahang establishment as long as dito ka sa ilaha and gipermahan nimo ang waiver. So in that case, walay makahilabot sa imuhang mga information or anything about sa imuhang gi-deposit sa ilahang bangko as long as nagpirma mo og waiver. So now, let's proceed to my next question. What are the instances when the BIR commissioner could abate taxpayers' tax liability? Okay, what are the instances when the BIR commissioner could abate taxpayers' tax liability? Anyone? Okay, Lizaline?
Sorry, I'm sorry. Ano ma'am, a reasonable doubt as to the validity of the claim against the taxpayer exists that tax or any portion thereof appears to be unjustly or excessively assessed. The financial position of the taxpayer demonstrates a clear inability to pay the assessed tax. Lastly, the administration and collection costs involved do not justify the collection of the amounts due.
Okay, so it is under the authority to compromise, abate, and refund or credit taxes, no? So, unsa kaya ning meaning sa abate? Class abate is kono kon siya. This is a cost, no? Okay, this is a cost to become smaller or less intense. Kumbaga, something kono, kung sa verb siya nga perspective is that something perceived as hostile, threatening, or negative become less intense or widespread. So, ma-reduce niya ang mga nuisance, kumbaga ba. Ma-lessen niya or ma-reduce or even ma-remove ang nuisance, mga threat or negative nga feeling nga na sa iyahang environment. So, the BIR commissioner may compromise, abate, refund, or credit the payment of any internal revenue tax. So, if na ay mga reasonable na mga doubts as to its validity, then um, the tax or any portion appears to be unjustly, dili siya fair, and excessively assessed na siya, and also the financial position of the taxpayer demonstrate a clear inability or dili jud siya makabayad, wala jud siya pambayad sa iyahang na-assess nga tax. And then the administration and collection costs nga na involve ani kay do not justify the collection of the amount due. So the taxpayer shall be informed through writing or through a letter of the law and the facts on which ang assessment kay na buhat. Otherwise, the assessment shall be avoid. O kung wala man nagpadala sa inyo og letter, wala yung mga writing information na hatag sa inyo ha. The assessment na gihatag sa inyo ha sa kung kinsa man ang officer nga na-assign sa inyo ha kay null or void siya. So, being invalid, the assessment cannot in turn to use as a basis sa inyong perfection of a tax compromise. So, the BIR commissioner may credit or refund taxes erroneously or illegally received or penalties imposed without authority. So the BIR commissioner may first credit or refund taxes erroneously. Then, you can also refund the value of internal revenue stamps. Kung for example, nagabaligya mo or naamoy, napalit from the BIR nga mga documentary stamps, and then wala ninyo nagamit, pwede to siya ninyo ipa-refund dito sa BIR as long as in good condition pa tong stamps. And also redeem or change unused na mga stamps that have been rendered unfit for use and refund their value upon proof of destruction. So it is the same thought with the number 2. Then we also have power to suspend business operation. So nasa tay duha kabuok. So, can you give the power to suspend business operation?
Ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am.
Gwen? Yes?
Wait lang.
Okay. Sige. First is Gwen. Later on, I'll just call Arjun, Clarence, and Angelica, I think.
Person. Number 2, any person.
Okay, can you repeat it again, Gwen? Murag wala mong internet connection.
Yes, ma'am. In that case of about registered person, failure by any person to register as required under Section 236 of NIRC.
Okay. Thank you for that, Gwen. So, the power to suspend business operations, so ang CIR or his authorized na mga representative, if ever nag-delegate na iyang power to his subordinates, they have is empowered no to suspend the business operation And pwede nila ipa-temporary close ang mga business establishment of any person for any of the following violations. So, first violation, in the case of a VAT registered na person, so, failure to issue mga resibo or invoices, pwede na ninyo ireklamo. Then, with that kuan scenario, kanay possibility nga pwede sila foreclosure or even temporary close ang isa ka business kung dili mo maghatag og resibo. Then, failure to file a VAT return as required sa under Section 114 of NIRC, and then understatement of taxable sales receipts by the 30% or more of his correct taxable sales or receipts for the taxable quarter. So, I think daghan mga businesses nga na foreclosure and na kung ano, temporary close or na-suspend ilang business operation because of this kuan ang mga reklamo. First, kay sa VAT nga aspect. And second, marag gamay lang ako nabalaan nga kanang nadyo sila na-encounter nga mga dagkong people nga gireklamo sila because of not issuing resibo or invoices sa ilaha. And especially pag sa kadaghan-daghan ninyo mga customer kay BIR na personal ang inyong ma-encounter tapos kani ang nahitabo, they are not satisfied with your services tapos pangitaan padyud mo ingani nga mga kuan pag wala mo maiatag sila ha foul na mo ingato. Then second is the failure by any person to register as required under Section 236 of NIRC. So this is the temporary closure of the establishment shall be for the duration of not less than 5 days and shall be lifted upon only upon compliance with whatever nga requirements ang gi-prescribe sila sa commissioner until sa mahulog na siya as closure order o kung dili jud nila kuan no dili nila kompleto ang compliance na gihatag compliance na mga requirements na gihatag sila sa commissioner. So within 5 days or after 5 days kay pwede na sila ipasarado for good sa commissioner. Then I want to call kisa kain siya ha. Arjon, can you give the authority to delegate power? The following powers of the
Yes, ma'am.
commissioner shall not be delegated.
The power to recommend the promulgation of rules and regulations by the Secretary of Finance. The power to issue first interpretation regarding rulings or to reverse, revoke, or modify any existing ruling of the Bureau. The power to assign or reassign internal revenue officers to establishments where articles subject to excise tax are produced or kept. And the power to compromise or abate.
Okay, so if naatay ginatawag na power sa commissioner nga makadelegate sila og mga power nila sa otoridad or sa they have the authority to delegate power sila ha mga subordinates, then we also have or limitation ang power ni commissioner to delegate power sa iyang subordinates to this following. So first kay the power to recommend the promulgation of rules and regulation by the Secretary of Finance. So kailangan Japon o decision from the Secretary of Finance before the approval of recommendation sa commissioner nga i-delegate niya iyahang power. Then the power to issue the first interpretation regarding sa rulings or pag-reverse niya sa mga existing na ruling. So kailangan pa niya og kailangan pa niya og validation no before niya i-reverse, i-revoke ba or i-modify ang mga existing rules na napatupad na sa Bureau of Internal revenue. Then the power to assign or reassign internal revenue officers to establishment where articles subject to excise tax. Then the power to compromise or abate, okay, to lessen the negativity or the sa ba ba? Ma-lessen or ma-reduce or ma-remove niya mga nuisance sa ilahang department or sa ilahang office, okay? Or mga threats na ma-feel nila or negativity na ma-feel nila within the department. Then, administrative provisions. So, for purposes of effectively and efficiently performing tax collection, the tax code provides the following requirements. Okay, mag-provide sa mga following requirements for compliance sa mga taxpayer, especially sa mga employed and also for those people who are engaged in the business. So, unsa-unsa kaya ning mga administrative provisions? So, kaganiha, si Clarence, nagtaas kag kamot kaganiha.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please read the mga requirements.
Okay, ma'am. First is registration. Second, printing of receipt or sale or commercial invoice. Third, insurance of receipt or sales or commercial invoice. Fourth, exhibition of certificate of payment at place of business. Fifth, requirements for continuance of business of deceased person. And six, transfer of business to another location. Section 2362 NIRC.
Okay, thank you for that, Clarence. Okay, so, di ba, this is for the purpose of effectively and efficiently performing mga tax collection kay without this requirements manggo, dili na to mabalaan kung kinsa tong mga taxpayers na to or kinsa tong mga taxpayers sa isa kay state without the registration. Okay? So this is stipulated no sa tax code nato as a requirement for compliance by a taxpayer, especially if employed ka or na-engage ka sa isa ka business. Now, class, na ako'y question. Okay, na ako'y question sa inyo Kanus-a kaya ang isa ka self-employed be first registered with the BIR? Okay, so this is my question. Kanus-a kaya ang isa ka self-employed be first registered with the BIR?
Pag
Okay?
naanay ma'am kanang naanay makita si mo nga naa kay income man taga bulan.
Okay. Thank you for that, Rachel. How about the other?
Ma'am, pag magkuha na ka, ma'am, magsugod, or kung ma-employed na ka, ma'am, pag magsugod na ka og trabaho.
Okay, pag magsugod nagtrabaho, or na kay ma-income monthly, napa ba ibang gusto mag-answer?
Ma'am, once the registered na ka, ma'am, nakuha na ka og sa BIR. Registered.
Okay. Thank you for that, Frizelda. Napa ba iba? Okay. So, marag wala na. Oh, napay nag-on. Yes. Additional.
Kaya na pa, ma'am. Ano, ma'am, kanang pareho lang sa YouTuber, good ba, once na musikat ka, ma'am, kanang nana kay kuan mo ba, or kaya business ni mo, ma'am?
Okay, so kani siya. Who counts as a self-employed taxpayer? So there is a big misconception nga ang mga self-employed taxpayer lang is that only freelance na mga makeup artist or the self-employed workforce. Kay mga makeup artist lang kay sila jud to always ato makit-an in the field of that kind of work. But karon man gud sa to ang time nauso na man gud ang mga kuan no, mga freelance sa mga trabaho. So naa na tay mga actually ang isa sa mga kuan belong aning self-employed taxpayer kay mga writers nato, mga book writer, mga authors and anyone nga naga-write no na gina-publish nila. So mga writers nato, photographers, mga artists and ato siya mga makeup no, mga makeup artist ato is a fair they have a fair amount of self-employed kuan or mas ginatawag nato sila as self-employed na mga professionals. Okay, so this group of people also includes pwede sad tong mga entrepreneurs na to, mga lawyers na to, mga doctors na to, and mga business owners na to who run their own business or practice their own linya jud na gusto nila or path na gusto nila masunod. Okay? As long as na gina-practice nila ang ilahang mga for example, another example of this manggod kay ang individual taxpayer manggod class is classified siya into three. Natay ginatawag nga kuan employed. So they are the person na connected sila with a company. Then not sad tayo ginatawag nga no. Ulit ha. Individual taxpayer manggod are classified siya as either employed or self-employed. Okay? And self-employed nga individuals. So, to further categorize kaning self-employed na individuals, napajud siya another category aning self-employed individuals. So, first category niya is single proprietorship na mga entrepreneurs. So, kinsa-kinsa man ni sila. Ang example nga ning single proprietorship entrepreneurs are the licensed. Okay? Kinsa ning mga license? Mga lawyers, mga doctors, mga accountants, and even teachers belong sa diri sa licensed na single proprietorship entrepreneurs. Nasa tayo ginatawag na unlicensed nga single proprietorship entrepreneurs. Sila ning mga writers, mga photographers, mga home-based na mga workers na to, na mga professionals. Okay, so ang individual taxpayer kay classified siya into three, employed, self-employed, and self-employed individuals. Then sa self-employed individuals, natay ginatawag na single proprietorship entrepreneurs, nga gihati sad siya sa duha natay licensed o unlicensed na single proprietorship entrepreneurs. Okay. So, with regarding sa mga registration requirements, so ang registration period niya is every person subject to any internal revenue tax shall register once lang with the appropriate na revenue district officer nila kung asa sila nga lugar nakapuyo. Okay, so for example, ang RDO kay under ko sa Davao. So within the 10 days from date of employment, okay, within the 10 days, gikan sa kung ano yung sulod sa inyo hang ginatrabahoan, on or before the commencement of business, then before payment of any tax due, then upon filing of return, statement or declaration as required sa atuang tax code. So, naatay annual registration fee. So, this is the annual registration fee 500 pesos for every separate or distinct establishment or place of business, including sa ilang mga facility types where ang ilang sales transaction occur. Especially, naaman na may makit-an dara sa inyong POS or the point of sale kanang ginak kaha sa inyong kuan no ginatrabahoan sa likod anang POS ninyo kay na ay mga notes na nakadikit dara from the BIR. Dapat always na siya makitaan sa BIR. Mo nang ginabutan na siya sa likod sa POS. And then naatay mga different forms of the BIR. So, kabalo ba mong class nga kaning mga BIR forms kato nag-eskwela pa ko sa college and my subject is income taxation pod. Gina-memorize na mo tanan nga BIR forms kung asa ni siya ginagamit ng mga form. So, BIR Form 1901, this is for the registration sa mga self-employed, mga mixed income ng mga individuals or estate and trust. While ang 1902, this is for individuals earning purely compensation income. And then the 1903 is for the registration of corporation and the partnership. If corporation and partnership ang gusto niyo pa-register nga business kay 1903 inyong kailangan. And then the 1904 is for registration of one-time taxpayer and persons registering under EO number 98 or mas kilala sa tawag na pag-secure og TIN or TIN to be able to transact with any government agencies. And lastly, ang BIR Form 1905. So this is for updating or cancellation sa inyong registration. 1905 also is the form na ginagamit nako every time na mawalang ako ang ID sa BIR. Then, content of registration form. Kato, taxpayer's name, ang style sa iyang business, place of residence, and also sa asa na locate ang inyong negosyo, other information as required by the commissioner in the form. So, dagay pa sa pangutana dito na you have to answer. Then, BIR Form 605 shall be accomplished in the following instances upon payment of annual registration fee for new business and for renewals on or before January 31 every year. Then, upon receipt of a demand letter, assessment notice, and or collection letter from the BIR, and every time a tax liability or penalty is due or an advance payment is made. So, filing payment and update. So, every person who is required to register with BIR shall file a return and pay such taxes for each type of internal revenue, no, and for which he is obligated. So, as sa discussion na to yesterday, compliance man jud ang pagbayad na to og taxes. Okay? And then, unsa pa bang mga important na kailangan na to i-discuss kung magtaas-taas po ni siya, no? We also have the adoption of electronic filing and payment system, the EFPS. So, naadara ang transfer of ownership, pag-transfer sa business location, and cancellation of registration sa toong business. And then, issuance of napadayta sa printing of receipts and sales or commercial invoice. So, sales or commercial invoice is a document issued by the seller of good to the buyer. So, receipt is a document issued for sales of services. So, the requirement before receipts, sales or commercial invoices are printed as follows. So, can anyone read the number 1 sa?
Me,
Ako,
ma'am.
BIR.
Okay, I'll call Baloy na lang sa kay murag wala siya nakarakuan. Is it nag on mix Baloy or Abreu?
Si Abrio, ma'am.
Okay. Abrio.
BIR authority to print. All persons who are engaged in business shall secure from the BIR an authority to print, receive, or sales or commercial invoices before a printer can print the same. Section 238 NIRC BIR Form 1906 is to be accomplished by all taxpayers every time printing of receipts and invoices is needed. Such form is to be accomplished with the RDO having jurisdiction over the head office or branch.
Okay, thank you for that, April. Who can read the number 2?
Ako, ma'am.
Okay, Camilio.
Other
Iglenio.
requirements. The printed receipt or sale invoice should be serially numbered, contain the name, business style, TIN, and business address of the person or entity to use such receipt or invoice, and contain information that may be required by rules and regulation to be promulgated by the Secretary of Finance upon recommendation of the commissioners.
Okay, thank you for that. So the requirements before receipts or sales or commercial invoices are printed as follows. So first is the BIR's authority to print. So according to this, tanan nga person who are engaged sa isa ka business, kay kailangan jud nila mo secure og mga kuano og from the BIR kanang authority nga mo printa og resibo or sales or commercial invoices. Dili ka pwede basta-basta nga magpalit lang kag POS og pwede na ka mo print agad-agad og resibo nga kuan nga ihatag nimo sa mga customer. No, you have to secure nga kuan siya na-acknowledge siya sa BIR nga gina-authorize mo nga mo release og mga resibo o mga commercial invoices before a printer can print the kuano the before the printer can print the same nga kuan kadtong gina-release ninyo nga resibo, dili man gud siya matawag as official receipt as long as no dili siya authorized sa BIR. Kay if ever madakpan mo na you are releasing an official receipt na without the knowledge of the BIR, if madakpan mo sa BIR, dakong multa, dakong penalty, and if dugay na ninyo na siya ginabuhat, there is a big possibility na pwede mo makulong with that kuan, with your doing. Okay? So, mo to siya, BIR Form 1906 is to be accomplished by all taxpayers every time they want to kuano, print a receipts and invoice kay kuan ka ng kailangan sa ilahang business operation. If kailangan na siya, you have again to accomplish the BIR Form 1906. Then, mo to siya, RDO na to, kay located siya daraa sa kuan, Magallanes, no? And I think we have two RDO diri sa Davao, pero dili na ko sure og kung available pa ba tong RDO sa uh, kung nasa Magallanes. I'm not sure kung naapat nung lapit sa land ko nga kuan RDO. Pero dugay na magud to murag 2013 pa man gud ako to siya nga nadungog nga na ay second RDO sa Davao. Pero ang RDO nako nag-apply ko ng RDOAs dara sa Magallanes. So, other requirements, the printed receipts or sales invoice should be serially number. So, as kung familiar mo tong sa resibo na ginasulatan ko nato, that is official receipt man gikan sa kuano sa BIR. Kuan naay serial number na sunod-sunod dito ang kailangan ninyo kuanan sulatan, and then contains the name, the business style, ang TIN number sa business, and the business address of the person or entity to use such receipts or invoices, then contain information that may be required by rules and regulation to be promulgated by the Secretary of Finance upon recommendation sa tuang Commissioner sa Internal Revenue. Then, issuance of receipts, sales, commercial invoice. So, naatay pito diri ah. Who can read the first? Angelica.
The time for issuance of receipts or invoice should be the time when transaction is effected, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, naunag kaganya pa na nagtaas og kamot si Vanessa. Vanessa? I think, unsa ba ning apelyido ni Vanessa? Vanessa Okang? You raise your hand. Marag kaganya pa ka nag-raise og hand.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go. Panduha.
All persons subject to any internal revenue tax are required to issue receipts or sales invoices when the value of a merchandise sold or service rendered is 25 pesos or more.
Okay, thank you for that, Vanessa. Alga na call mo na katong mga wala pa sa ko ang listahan ha. Lara? Lyndon? Lyndon? Okay, so, okay.
Okay, ma'am. Receipt invoice is not required when the value of the merchandise sold or service rendered is less than 25 pesos and when exempted by the BIR Commissioner in meritorious cases.
Okay, thank you for that, Lyndon. Glidel?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Pang-apat?
Regardless of amount, a receipt must be issued when it covers payment made as rentals, commissions, compensations, or fees, or a VAT-registered person makes the sale to another VAT-registered person.
Okay, thank you for that, Glidel. Kathy? Kathy.
Number 5, ma'am, no?
Yes.
The receipt should indicate the name, business, if any, address of the purchaser, customer, or client when it covers payment made as rentals, commissions, compensation, or fees. The sale is made by a person liable to VAT to another person also liable to VAT.
Okay, thank you for that, Kathy. Marie Joy?
Yes po, ma'am. Wait lang.
Okay,
Number 6
pang
po.
6.
The original receipt shall be issued to the purchaser and the issuer shall keep the duplicate in his place of business for 3 years.
Okay, thank you for that, Marie Joy. And let's see. Kinsa pa bang wala nakakuan? Sa pinakalas, kinsa kaya? Okay, Kasas. Magdalena?
Number 7, ma'am, no? The purchaser or the issuer should keep his copy of receipts for a period of 3 years in his place of business from the close of the taxable year in which all receipts was made.
Okay, so thank you for that, Magdalena. So, that is the 7 rules that we should follow in the issuance of the receipts or the invoices. So, first is the time of issuance of receipts or invoice should be kung kano saa siya na no na no ni take effect jud ang transaction sa inyong mga sa inyong mga customer ing ana kung kano saan niya gipalit tong iyahang mga items dapat sa inyong resibo kaya dapat magbangga man gud tong resibo na gina-release gyud sa inyong POS versus dito as sa official receipt na ihatag sa inyo sa BIR, i-attach man gud ninyo dito ang kuan, ang girelease sa POS ninyo kay kuan, kung mapansin man gud ninyo sa mga POS nga tawag ani, sa mga POS na machines, duwa na ka resibo ang gina-release. Ang first copy kay para sa customer, ang second copy kay sa store. Sa store na siya nakuan, sa store na siya nga copy. So, mao to siya ang ipasa ninyo sa kuan sa bookkeeper para magkuan sa inyohang kuano, sa inyohang taxes para sa inyohang businesses. So mao to siya, if ever na mangayo man gud ang kuan, ang customer og resibo is that ang ilahang resibo na supposedly nakwaon kadtong puti nga strip, mao to siyang i-attach dito sa OR na copy sa store. Tatlo man siya, copy sa store, copy sa BIR, and copy sa customer. So, i-carbonize copy lang na siya. So, mao to siya, you have to fill up there kung unsa siya oras nagpalit, if needed or naa dito sa inyong BIR receipt nga stipulated or sa BIR invoice ninyo stipulated nga kailangan ninyo ibutang ang time. So, you have to put the exact time kung kano sa tong transaction. The date of the transaction mo dyan ang pinaka-importante, ang date sa transaction. So, mao to siya ang inyong isulat dito. Then, again, kung kano sa siya gipalit, dapat mao po itong time nga mo take effect siya as a transaction dito sa inyong invoices. And then, all persons subject to any internal revenue tax are required to issue receipts or sales invoice. Kaya naman ko tayo mga customer no na ginabilin lang jud ang resibo sa counter. Dili nila kwaon ang iba. Pero as long as na makita naman ko na sa CCTV, no, sa CCTV nga gi-offer jud ninyo tong resibo kay in case na what if the IBIR to inyo na encounter na i-insist niya sa inyo nga wa man jud ko niya gihatagan og resibo. Pero as long as nagiabot ninyo or gitry ninyo og habot siya ang iyang resibo, so it means nga naa dito tong transaction na gihatag jud nimo tong resibo pero siya ang wala ni dawat. So at least man lang dili mo mabalikan. Okay? Then receipts invoice is not required first when the value of the merchandise sold or service rendered is less than 25 pesos. Okay? Naa siya yung mga kuano, naa siya yung mga limitations. So if below 25,000 pesos, 25 pesos rather, if below 25 pesos, pwede nga dili na mo maghatag og resibo or invoices. Next is when exempted by the BIR Commissioner in meritorious na kuan, Mary meritorious na meritorious na cases. So, meritorious na mga cases mga good class, this is a kuano, unsa ba ni siya meritorious. So, this is kuan, mahulog siya as merit. So, this is deserving of something sa ginabanggit nato ning meritorious kaysa from the word merit. This is something talking about honor sa isa ka tao or merit or isa ka claim of something merit sa isa ka is it mga butang na praiseworthy siya, creditable sa admirable ba siya na isa ka butang ingana kumbaga. And then we also have the regardless of amount, a receipt must be issued when it covers payment made as rentals, commissions, compensations, or fee. Then a VAT registered na person make the sale to another VAT registered na person. Then the receipt should indicate the name, business address of the purchaser. The receipt should indicate the name, business address of the purchaser, customer, or client. So it covers payment made as rentals, commission, compensation, or fees. The sale is made by a person liable to VAT. to another person, also liable to VAT. Then, kuan, um, okay, so Josie Marie, can you read the praise here? Um, the praise sa kuan kaning in the case of sales. Is Josie Marie Odilao still here? Josie?
Hello, ma'am.
Ah, yan.
Ah,
Ayan na.
ang sakit po, ma'am.
Katong the praise nga in the case of sales.
Case of sales. Mm, no.
After number 5, I think. Yan, after number 5.
Case of sales. Wait lang, mama. Wala din siya.
Page 43 po.
43. Sorry,
Apo.
No,
Tira.
thank you.
Welcome.
Number 6, ma'am.
Kanang before number 6 kanang the praise in the case of sales.
Ay, number, ano? 7?
Number 5. Number
Ay,
5.
number 5, sorry.
Pinakababa na niya. Pinakababa.
Kaninda,
Oh.
in the case of sales, receipts, or transfers in the amount of 100 or more, or regardless of amount, where the sale or transfer is made by a person liable to value-added tax to another person also liable to value-added tax, was deleted under RA 9337 of 2005.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that, Josie. So, this praise pang good na gibasa ni Josie, no? This was deleted under the RA 9337 of 2005. I just want to include it here, no? So, class, the RA of 9337 of 2005 man good. This is amended, which amended the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997. This is by deferring the imposition sa mga value-added tax on, for example, sa mga petroleum products na to. This is impose the imposition of value-added tax or the VAT on petroleum products until June 1, 2006. So from 1997 to June 1, 2006, and retaining the previous levels of excise tax. So, gi-retain niya ang ang level sa excise tax na applicable lang to them during the period of deferment. So, so, pang-anim is the original receipt shall be issued to the purchaser. And katong sa issuer, kay sila ang mag-keep sa mga duplicate. Okay? So, again, natay tatlo daraa. Naay katong sa original receipt kay mo tong ihatag sa customer. Then natay sometimes magud it's either duha or nay tatlo. If duha gani, katong duplicate kay inyuha nga copy. Pero katong if tatlo katong naay puti, pink og sky blue, it means i-keep ninyo tong sky blue og pink because the other copy will be for the accountant or the bookkeeper nga copy. Okay, then the purchaser or issuer should keep his copy of receipts for a period of 3 years. So dili mo pwede basta-basta maglabay lang sa inyong compilation sa inyong resibo unless na lang kung niabot na siya og 3 years. So 3 years in his place of business from the close of the taxable year in which or receipt was made. So class, tomorrow let's continue to discuss the gross income. Okay? Tomorrow. Okay. So, sa mga wala pa nakakuan, sa mga wala pa tawagan eh, apa sa ato ang kuan no, sa participation, apas mo tomorrow ha. I hope that I can hear mga new kuan tomorrow. Voices. Okay? Mga kuan, mag-participate og taman ang all tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow, please ko, if you have questions and clarification sa sa topic na to for today, ay napamatay tayo 5 minutes. Oh, okay. So na pa may clarifications and questions regarding sa tuang first first part sa tuang week 2, the tax administration. So this is our this is our first topic sa week 2. Then the second topic for week 2 is the gross income. So tomorrow na to siya i-discuss and probably matapos na to siya agad-agad kay murag gamay lang ata to ang discussion for gross income. Na ba questions, clarifications?
Wala po, ma'am.
Wala.
None na.
So, none so far. So, if naamoy mabuo na questions and clarifications, pero karon kay wala pa, you can keep it muna or you can ask me through a private message to explain it with you further kung sa tong mga clarifications you want to clarify. You can send me PM, I'll just reply sa inyong GCs and and you can also ask it tomorrow na lang sa ato ang continuation sa ato ang discussion. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you kayo sa pag-participate class sa ato ang discussion for today and I hope you enjoyed listening and participating sa ato ang class today, no? And I wish you all have a great day and God bless always and always keep safe. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Everyone,
Bye,
and take
ma'am.
care.
Bye.
Thank you,
Okay,
ma'am.
have your
Bye.
lunch, everyone.
Yes
Bawal
po,
ang diet.
ma'am.
Bye,
Bye,
bye.
ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.